Good morning, good afternoon, and a very happy Monday to you guys. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Hope you had a very happy Easter. Got lots of Easter eggs, lots of chocolate, or celebrated with friends and family. Hope you all had a fantastic day. It's Monday. Unfortunately, we have been blessed by the Norse gods. Something has just been dropped into our laps, which we will talk about in just a moment. But before we do, let me welcome my co-hosts for today. We've got Salty Texasy and Zaxx. Hello, guys.
Hey there. Thanks a lot for the invite, Purple. And hey, Zaxx.
Yeah. Hello, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you guys, as always. Think of this as like a preview for tomorrow night's show.
Yeah, that's the best way to see it.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. But before we jump into it with our first subject, let us say hello to everybody in the chat. We have got Brandon, the anime guy. Good morning. Jaden Hamilton says hello. Good to see you. We've got Dave Bob. Good morning, Dave Bob. Let's see. We've got Jim the Viking. Good afternoon. Good to see you. Gary Banjo and Whip Worthington. Great to see you. Hello there. We've got Keely Chow. Roll Tide Keely. A big good morning to Dave G Sound. Hope you're doing well. That shouldn't be. Great to see you. Hello there. Let's see who else we've got scrolling up. X11 Bravo Comics, welcome. Good afternoon to Mobile Recluse. Great to see you as always. We've got Nearsighted Cyclops. Good morning. We've got the lovely Gun Bunny. Hello, sweetheart. Good to see you. Agent Atwood, I think, was in first today. Great to see everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. So, and Roger Ryder. Hello there. Good morning. So, I think we should probably kick it off with the thing that's literally just dropped and we were in the green room making fun of. So we have the long-awaited, much anticipated by some, trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder. What did you guys think? Yeah, that was exactly my
It's everything that we didn't want. And not only that, but Marvel Studios appears to be so confident in this story and in the passing of the hammer to this strong independent woman, although I'm no biologist, that there was literally nothing about that storyline that I saw. But we do have Abby from The Last of Us Part 2 in Thor costume for a moment. So
it's a beautiful thing. Yes.
The music was fun, and that was it for me.
Yes, it's a waste of Guns N' Roses for me. I was expecting a little bit more of Jane Foster's Thor in the trailer, I've got to admit. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I mean, well, don't worry. I'm sure once we get closer to the movie, they'll release an all-female Thor one, and you know they'll have Jane Foster making out with King Valkyrie, and you know Thor will be running a vacuum around the palace because he needs to be the beta in his own franchise, just like Loki.
Well, having watched this trailer, it looks like Thor's completely checked out of his own story arc. It's like, screw this, I'm going off on adventures with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that's right. He can't even want to try to be a hero anymore.
No, and you've got that. It looks like a bouncer at a carnival, somewhere in Alabama. He's wearing that cutoff jean jacket thing. Tell me I'm wrong. I mean, it looks like he's a bouncer at a biker bar somewhere in like rural Alberta, and it's like that's Thor. It's just toxic. He's just this toxic, dumb hillbilly redneck Asgardian. He's not a strong, hero who can be trusted. He's just, yeah.
At least he's not gay, right?
You don't know that. There was a gay joke, though.
They hinted at it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. There is. Oh, no.
Yeah. Star-Lord, because remember what they said they were going to do with Star-Lord?
You're right.
God, I hate Marvel so much. God.
Oh.
This is why we can't have nice things. And
No.
I loved Thor. I thought Hemsworth was such a great Thor when we first got him. really the writing should have been on the wall with Ragnarok. A lot of people really liked it. They said it was, it was a change of pace because it was funny, and I can kind of see it as a comedy. But this is really Taika Waititi's taking it to a whole another level.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is him emulating James Gunn, what he does? Because it seems to be, or do you think he just wants to really kind of push the message?
Honestly, I think this is Taika Waititi doing exactly what every Marvel property has done, including that on Disney Plus. This is to destroy the Western definition of the strong cis normative hero. That's it.
Mhm.
And I think he revels in the fact, I mean, everyone has quoted what he said when he said, "I will ruin your mythos in a minute, baby." Okay, well, if you're going to destroy the character, then why are you making the movie? And then it becomes its own answer. The reason is the movie is being made to destroy the character, and the rest of this just happens to be convenient. I know one thing I sent you, for those of you in chat who don't know, we were sending Twitter messages laughing this morning before the show started, and Purple was scrambling to change things just to accommodate Thor 4 because this was such a shit show. And we got that one image of King Thor in a boardroom looking bored, and all I could think of is, why does this look like Tessa Thompson is in The Godfather? This is not Marvel. This is not what I go to a superhero movie for.
And Dark Knight, no, a lot of people I'm seeing on Twitter do actually like it. They like the style of the trailer. They like what they've done with it. The one thing I will say that I liked is that we no longer have Fat Thor. Because I hated Fat Thor. I thought that was a joke that wasn't funny to begin with, and they just kept running with it throughout. But if you like it, I wish I did. I wish I did like it. And lovely Sherry, hello, honey. She says that Natalie Portman was terrible as Jane Foster. Yes. Before we pull up that image that you've got, Salty, not seeing a lot of Jane Foster in this trailer, as we said. Do you think that there's a reason for that, or do you think that they have dialed it back, or do you think that we're going to get another trailer that's just about Jane Foster?
I think they're hiding it. Let's be really honest about it. I think everybody knows what the numbers were on Disney Plus. Hawkeye, Loki, WandaVision. I mean, God knows what else. And then that abomination She-Hulk that's coming out, of course, Ms. Marvel. I think maybe somebody's like, you know what? Maybe we should have handsome Chris Hemsworth up on the screen to get people into this movie.
I just want to address quickly Dark Knight in the chat. The music was good, and the Fat Thor workout was funny. And I know what you're saying. I love the music in the Fat Thor workout. At least he's not fat, like Purple Valkyrie said. But Thor wasn't that kind of a joke before.
No,
he was a fish out of water joke. That's how that worked. But he wasn't a loser. So that's why I think this doesn't work for me that much.
Yes, and just before I get to this super chat, thank you, Brandon. The whole point of Thor was he was, at least with the first couple of films, he was on a journey of self-discovery. He wanted to be the hero. He wanted to prove to his father that he was worthy. And with these last couple of films, it seems to he has thrown away that. He doesn't want to be the hero anymore. He even says in the trailer, he's searching for who he actually is now. Well, you found who you were. You're Thor.
Yeah, I mean the other thing too in Purple, you just hit the nail on the head, and I think many people will miss this, and that is that Thor's story, the original first Thor, was one of going from the immature masculine,
right,
to the mature masculine, and that is something that we see current Hollywood is deems as toxic, where you can't be this man who stops being this impetuous, rash acting young man who wants to brawl and fight, to be this sort of, elder statesman, the tribal leader, someone who earns the title of being the ruler of Asgard. So they deconstructed Thor textbook intersectional feminism style. It's actually horrifying.
And it is sad because, as you say, they worked so hard with the casting. I thought he was spot on. But let me just say a massive thank you to Brandon, the anime guy, who sends us a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. He says, "You had one job, Marvel, one job. This looks like an effing train wreck and will be stupid as fuck. Hard pass. Watch Star Trek, the motion picture director's cut in 4K instead."
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't wait to see that. Can I just tell you that? I saw that in the theater as a kid and we were bored because everybody said they kept saying it was going to be Star Wars and it wasn't Star Wars. And as time has gone on, my God, I love that movie so much. I love the motion picture so much.
Yes, I've got a much bigger appreciation for it. Absolutely. You said you had a really good screen cap for us. Do you want to bring that up to demonstrate just the range that Tessa Thompson has when it comes to acting?
Bear with me. I've got a lot of windows open because I might have been preparing for another show that I'm on, but here we go. Yeah, this right here pretty much tells you everything you need to know about the acting range of Tessa Thompson. And I it's not like I hunted for that. It's not like I went microsecond by microsecond to get that expression. No, that is just her resting Tessa Thompson bitch face. That is a woman who's tired of the patriarchy, and thank God her pronouns are raging bitch. So that's all I got.
And now king.
Yes, she became the patriarchy, so she became everything she hated. That's why she's got that look on her face. Yes.
Yeah. So this screams compilation video of Tessa Thompson's expressions. That's coming next.
I mean, look at this. Who wouldn't want to go see Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie dressed in drag? You know what this looks like? This looks like a drag from the 1960s. That's what it looks like. Female.
It's bizarre, and putting it in context with the rest of the scenes, you can see everybody else from Asgard. They're walking around in, clothing that you would expect, but Tessa Thompson is fully suited out at some committee meeting at the head of the table, looking thoroughly bored, and really seems to be regretting the decision of taking on this position.
I just wonder, is there action figure in this cheesy suit thing? Because I think that would be perfect. That and the strap on, I think would be perfect for her.
You could just swap it out with that Men in Black character that she played, and I'm sure there's a.
Oh my God, you're right.
Exactly. Spot on purple.
I'm sure there's a figure of that somewhere.
No, nobody bought that figure, so he would be in a bin somewhere.
Somebody go dumpster diving quick.
Yeah.
Take that, patriarchy. I'm going to dress like the thing that I say we shouldn't have. It's brilliant.
And let me say hello and welcome to Sil Abdul. Great to see you. As always, good morning. Guys, great to see everybody. Let me just take that one down. There was one more really good article that you sent. I think it was from Gizmodo. So let me pull that up before we move on to the next couple of things that we're going to talk about. But
I'll vamp for you. Do you remember last year when you had Taika Waititi making out with Tessa Thompson and another woman? Mm-hmm. And I mean, I did a video on that. And then it's just, again, what's so crazy about this is we have a director whose name is Taika David Cohen, who changed his name to Taika Waititi to make this film all about strong, independent women who apparently was leaving a Oscar party with a different woman than Tessa Thompson. It's all very, very interesting.
Yes, he is quite a character, isn't he, from what I've seen? He preaches one thing, but practices an entirely different thing. So it's a case of do as I say, not as I do, I think, with Taika. I've got to admit, I don't like him as a director. I know his film, was it Jojo Rabbit, was supposed to be quite good, but I never watched it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say this might not be popular, but it was good. I did enjoy Jojo Rabbit.
Was it good? I heard good things about it, but he's so off-putting as a person. It's on my to-watch list, but it's down quite low on my to-watch list.
You know what I think it was? and what's happening with him is somewhat similar to Zack Snyder, where the more control he gets, the worse the movies will get. Because he has some ideas that are okay, but when he's in control, this is what we get is Thor 4.
Yes. So it says here, after Thor Ragnarok, fans obviously expected Thor Love and Thunder to be wild, just off the walls bonkers nonsense from the man who does that better than anybody, writer/director Taika Waititi. Now the first trailer is here and everybody was clamoring for it for some reason, and it delivers on that promise and more. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is indeed bringing the thunder and we love it.
It's more like a popcorn fart. There's no thunder to this. That's not Thor. Sorry.
Who wrote that? This article.
This is Jermaine Lucia.
Oh my God, that's just like, could you be a bigger shill? We're all excited and clamoring, quote unquote, for the trailer. Yes, we talked about the trailer, guys. We talked about it because you keep showing us everything else, which makes us think this is going to be garbage. Why are you holding off on this trailer for so long? That's why we're clamoring, not because we're excited.
This is a respected entertainment journalist, okay? This is someone who is well compensated for the content they make. And based upon the word count on this, I'm sure they made $4.38 from it. So be careful, Zaxx. Be careful.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's say they go on to say Thor Love and Thunder opens 8th of July. Now, that's pretty much around the corner. This is a really late time to be bringing out a trailer. Now, do you think that that's because there were a lot of reshoots? That's what we've heard, isn't it?
Yeah, I actually pulled up another article I didn't send you because I didn't want to appear autistic on Twitter because I'd already sent you 8 of them. And even though I might be autistic, but once I get into something, I like to deep dive it. And it actually goes back to Comic-Con back in 2019. Remember when we saw Jane Foster who couldn't hold up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh God, somebody please take this hammer off me. Yes.
The original release date for Thor 4 was in 2020, in late 2020. So what's crazy though, and I'll shut up in a second, is that as recent as 30 days ago, Taika Waititi said the movie wasn't done filming and editing yet. So God only knows what they've done.
Yes, and this film, if going by the trailer, it seems to be very much a film of two halves. So you've got the much more serious side, which seems to be the Jane Foster, the Valkyrie side, where they're actually having to, be serious and pick up the slack that Thor has quite happily dropped because he's off on adventures with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now I think that side is at least going to be a lot more interesting because there's a lot of charismatic actors within that group. I think Hemsworth and Chris Pratt play off each other really well. I really hope that they stop doing the the gay teasing. I think that's a really, really stupid thing for them to do. We've already had that teased with Valkyrie and Captain Marvel. We don't need it anymore with these characters. It's okay. Don't push things. He's already had an established relationship with Jane Foster.
I don't know. I don't know why you're so afraid of all of that, Purple. I mean, it's not like these characters have had 30 or 40 years of established lore with their relationships and their sexuality being such a minuscule part of the character. What's crazy is I go back to, again, the Comic-Con 2019 conjecture, where they said they teased a potential love triangle between Thor, Valkyrie, and Jane Foster. Think about that one a second and look at where we are now. It's just insane.
I think that's just Taika Waititi writing himself into the film.
Yeah, that's a self-insert for sure. Pun intended.
That's just wishful thinking at this. Just quickly, let me say a massive thank you and good morning to Manowar665, neighbor of the beast. He has sent us a membership milestone. Thank you, sweetheart. He's been with us for 12 months. He says, oh, come on. Black pills ain't so bad if you already like the taste of licorice. Bonus.
Uzo. I'm just going to call out Uzo in the house. You could call it a black pill if you just saying.
So, is it fair to say that you guys weren't particularly moved by this trailer? I mean, I don't think it's anything that any of us were really looking forward to. It wasn't something that we were hyped about, but it seems to be this whole Phase 4 is a bit of a mess, to be honest.
Well, I'm not excited about it, but man, because of the song, I have to be honest. I left the trailer feeling good about it, even though when I break down the parts of it, it wasn't a good trailer. But I just love that song, like so.
Yes, I will agree. That was a good pick for a song, but now I can't think. I really don't want to be associating such a good song with such a crappy film.
Exactly, and that's member berries too, right? That's all this was.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, and I made this joke when we were in the green room before the show, but remember what they did to Led Zeppelin in Thor Ragnarok when Thor was hanging on that chain? I love that song, and it worked in a movie that was an absolute piece of garbage. And you know, I don't mean to derail this, but where did Thor go wrong? Which movie was it? Because for me, it was what was the dark one,
the Dark World. Yeah,
I thought I was bored. I was like, this movie is dumb. I went to Ragnarok and I'm like, okay, this movie is obviously meant for a 14-year-old who didn't take Ritalin. And now we've got this movie, which essentially is, you know what? Let's go ahead and mutilate what is left of Fat Thor and completely let's just take everything away from Thor and give it to a woman. Oh, wait a minute, who didn't earn it again? Where
okay,
we
wait
see
a minute.
that?
What else they're doing is they're taking away a negative, which we're taking as a positive, because all they're doing is making him not fat anymore when he should have been fat in the first place.
This is true. Yes, if you're going to be accurate to the character, yes, Thor was always depicted as bigger, larger than life, you know, rather than very ripped and lean.
This all sounds very sizist to me. I don't know if I can continue on in this live stream.
It's problematic.
What I want to know is why Lizzo wasn't the mighty Thor. That's the question I have for everyone. That would have been the perfect casting.
If we get reshoots now and she shows up, I'm blaming you.
It wouldn't be the first time a really bad idea was taken by Marvel and ran with. Yeah, who wants to see this movie now? It's just, who wants to see this movie?
If you believe Twitter, everybody, but we know that Twitter isn't real life, thankfully. But it seems to have split a lot of people down the middle. Some people really like it, or at least they like the trailer. They like elements of it, but I don't know. I think that this is going to be a bit of a weird one. I think it's going to be a bit of a bait and switch.
Purple, you're a big fan of sort of the Norse lore and Viking things in general. Now, how do you feel about the fact that they're ignoring so many stories and so much history and mythos that they could have gone into with the Thor franchise, and now we're here with 98-pound Jane Foster taking the mantle that belonged to an established male character, and they completely ignore everything that they could have delved into when it comes to Viking mythology.
I think that that's pretty much Marvel's way. They didn't know what to do with the character. They've had characters in the past where they didn't really know how to use them within the structured worlds that they've built. And I think Thor's probably a really good example of that. I think what they did with Loki as well, they took him from being what was a really fantastic villain that was very charismatic that people really liked, and they pretty much neutered the character and made him a secondary character in his own TV show, and that was such a waste of Tom Hiddleston, because I really genuinely thought he was a fantastic character.
Yeah, go back to that original Avengers movie with when you have Tony Stark and Loki in the Avengers Plaza, and it is so good. It's just, you have a good guy, you have a bad guy, and yes, I'm using gendered language, but it's just, God, I miss those movies. I miss those concepts.
I do as well. And just quickly, let me say a massive thank you to Psycho Dwarf 9. Good morning, honey. Great to see you. Says, I'm guessing a focus group yakking in the aisles.
Yep.
Yeah, everything has to be done by committee nowadays. So I fully expected you are correct on that one, Psycho Dwarf. And Daniel, good morning. Great to see you as always. He says, sounds like a and B plot for a what's it, TNG? Not sure.
Yep.
Yeah, we get 2 movies in one. Here's your steak ordered. Please try this chaos movie that you didn't order to.
That's good.
Thank you, Daniel. Much appreciated.
Yeah,
Let
Thor
me
4 looks like a
bring the-
Wesley Crusher storyline nobody wants. You know, it's just a good analogy. Yeah, I pulled this up just because because I was autistic this morning on Twitter and sent you all the links. I found this, and this is a reveal from a Romanian, I believe, toy company.
Okay.
Maybe this isn't it. I don't know. I sent you so many links, like I said, but so apparently we're getting a little bit of a tease as to how and why Jane Foster gets to be the mighty Thor.
Okay.
And so we all know Mjolnir was shattered, and what it would look like is, for some reason, it is reassembled, and that is what gives Jane Foster her godlike abilities. Now, the problem with that is again, Thor was born to be Thor. Thor was born a god. He's Odin's son. Jane Foster was a PhD student studying astrophysics, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Why does she get the mantle of being a god? I'm going to ask that question.
Yes. Well, even the original inscription on Mjolnir says if they are worthy, they have the power of Thor. What makes Jane Foster worthy? Now, we know that Captain America was worthy, but only in that one moment. He had to prove his worth. I highly doubt he could have picked her up any other time, even though he managed to kind of move it on the table very, very slightly. But yes. And I know people will say, Jane Foster was Thor in the comic books. This is comic book accurate, but it doesn't mean it's a good story.
I don't get it. I mean, actually, I do get it. Let's be honest. I mean, the agenda, it's just agenda. It's just 99% agenda with that shiny Mylar candy bar wrapper of Thor, just like with everything else that we've seen: Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, Lord of the Rings, Wheel of Time, every single thing.
You know what? There's lots of, how many stories are there for Thor? It's a long running series. There's been a ton of great stories told through it, and so they're choosing this one for a reason. They could have done this eventually if they wanted to, but they're doing it now for a reason.
Yes. It's a weird one, I've got to admit. I think we will get another trailer before it's released in July, but I don't know. It wasn't one that was on my radar. The only one that I was really excited for, or at least interested in, was Doctor Strange. But even that seems to be a little bit not quite what they first said it was going to be.
Yeah. It is crazy, though, that this movie, when it was written and mostly shot, the world was a very, very different place. And a lot of the politics and messaging in that goes back to 3 years ago now, and when I think a lot of people expected a certain event in the United States in November of 2020 to go a very different way than it supposedly did. And so I'm just wondering, God, why? Why? It seems the solution to this was to add more Guardians of the Galaxy, because originally it wasn't supposed to be full of Guardians of the Galaxy, just Star-Lord.
Yes, I think they know how popular the Guardians of the Galaxy films are, and people really wanted the third one, which I'm guessing is still coming, but we haven't really heard much about that. So I suppose that this is the next best thing that they could offer people. But as was pointed out in the super chat, and as we were saying, this does seem to be a film that's an A+ and a B+. So it remains to be seen. I don't think it's one that I'm going to be seeing at the cinema, though. But let me say hello and good afternoon to Ian So4. Welcome. Great to see you. He says, Lizzo as Thor, somewhere a studio executive just snapped their pencil.
See, I could be rolling in cocaine and Maseratis and ex-wives. Hire me, Hollywood. Come on. I know how to package a movie like this.
If those writers could afford cocaine, they'd be much better at their job.
It's true. It's true.
The 80s was so much better. Yeah.
I'll take Armageddon. Just give me Armageddon again.
And let me say hello to 36 Flavors and Nick Weiser. Good morning, Nick. He says, funny part is the early stuff on Thor, God of Thunder, wasn't bad. Then Jane happened.
It's like bringing Yoko Ono into the Beatles. You know, it was a bad idea. Everything was fine, and then that bitch Jane Foster showed up.
And Sherry says the hammer's bigger than 5'3", Lady Jane.
Oh, you mean Thor's hammer? Yeah, it's big.
Yes. Oh my god. And Six brings up a really good point as well. Good to see you. She says, including all of the Guardians of the Galaxy brings a lot of action figures to the shelves. Yes.
True.
That is very true. And as we know, it's all about the merchandising with Disney. But it depends on the character, because some of them just sit on these shelves and rot.
Yeah.
Or in the bins, yep.
I where was it? I was actually in Walgreens, the drugstore chain here, and I still saw some of the Rise of Skywalker action figures were still in the clearance bin. I'm not kidding. They were still in the clearance bin. So well done, Disney. Well done.
Money well spent. Oh my god. So I think it's time to move on to something a little bit different. And I think, Zaxx, you've got a really good take on this. So we have got the news that Pedro Pascal, as we know, he's going to be in the Last of Us TV show, but he says he wanted to create a healthy distance between the live action series and the original game. See, for me, on the surface, that sounds like it's great. But he says the original game, not the sequel, which is the one he should be distancing himself from.
Yeah, he should be. You know what? One of the things about this, I get he's a good actor, and I wouldn't actually, this doesn't really bother me personally, but I know it would bother him had it been flipped. But does he look like a guy named Joel Miller to anyone?
No, not really.
He's as Spanish as you get. He's not. This is not the same guy, and I don't have no skin in the game. Not a big fan of the games. Haven't really played them. But if this was flipped, he'd be screaming about it and protesting it.
I actually watched, I'm not kidding, all of the cutscenes from The Last of Us, the first game, remastered in 4K last night. Because I was thinking about doing a video on this in The Last of Us Part 2. And what's crazy about it is even watching the narrative that you saw in the first Last of Us game and going just 5 or 10 minutes into the cutscenes for The Last of Us Part 2, it is not the same character. It's not the same story. It immediately goes from, a celebration of this man who's in a role of protector to suddenly being, I'm weak and I'm broken and I'm essentially Jean-Luc Picard in the zombie apocalypse. And this is not an illusion. We are not imagining this. Every single male has to be constructed and has to be shamed and then feel bad for what they did before. It's not just enough to make and take and give it to a woman. The men have to feel bad for being strong, for being smart, and for being the protectors. It's sick and it's crazy.
Well, and what I do know about the story, because I understand the story of the games, is he is now sort of the villain in the second game because he chose to save his surrogate daughter's life.
Yes.
And wouldn't sacrifice her. And so he has to apologize for that and be tortured because of that, because he tried to save his daughter, quote unquote.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll just go into the article in just a moment, but let me say thank you again to Daniel. Great to see you as always. He says Jane Foster actually has a great character design in the armor. If they'd made her into a classic psychic and called her Lady Jane, she could have been an epic character. Instead, she stole his name.
Great idea.
Absolutely. And Dork Knight, I do see your comments, and I love that you've got a different perspective. So thank you, honey. I really appreciate it. He's been giving out some really, really good comments. He says, I love you guys, but I couldn't disagree more. That is absolutely fine. Cool. We love having, the back and forth. So thank you. Thank you for being with us today. We really appreciate it. Great to see you.
It's great when people get excited about things, and I'm not going to judge anybody for it. There are things that I like and love that people would probably laugh at me for, and I'm not saying I'm laughing at the Dork Knight, but in this case, it's the totality to me of everything we've seen in Marvel Phase 4, and I'm not repeating what the bigger channels say. I'm not. It's undeniable that what we loved is being changed in every story, in every way, and it's not just Marvel. And I've reached a point where I'm not going to go along with this. I'm not going to be fooled anymore, and I'm not going to be socially engineered by this type of entertainment. Now, maybe that makes me a dick, and I'll own that, but I want a good story, and more importantly, I want a story with the hero's journey, with the 3-act play, and that I think is going to be the flaw of Thor 4, just like it was the flaw of so many other shows that we saw. It's the story that's the problem.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that's what we're going to see played out. And good morning, I see we've got Zaxx, and we've got Brightest Day. Great to see you. We've got Al Necron. Hello there, and I also saw Max von Priestley. Hello, honey. Great to see you. Good morning. But yeah, The Last of Us, it says the usual red flags have begun to fly for HBO's upcoming live-action adaptation of The Last of Us. As series star Pedro Pascal has revealed that not only did he not engage with Naughty Dog's original works, but he also wanted to create a healthy distance between his depiction of protagonist Joel Miller and the character's video game counterpart. So
he's going to be gay. So he's going to be gay. Let's just come out and say it. Just own it. Just own it. Just say Joel is gay now. And that's fine. That's fine.
Are you a fan of Pedro Pascal in general, guys? Is he an actor that you particularly like?
Well, I can answer that quickly because I cannot stand him. And the more I looked into him, the least I like him. And he is, you guys, like, look into it a bit on your own, but he is not the person he pretends to be. He's not this poor refugee who's scraped by at the bottom and finally made his way to the top at 41 as an actor. Not at all. You could not be more privileged than he was or wealthy than he was growing up. He was basically aristocracy where he came from in Chile, and his family were colonizers there. He's Spanish. He's not Chilean. It says Chilean American on Wikipedia because he was a citizen there. He was born there, but he's not ethnically Chilean.
And Zach's not wrong. And this is not hyperbole. Look into his family. Look into his father's illegal activities. And look at where his money came from. His acting career, air quotes, supposedly in New York City, he had no roles. Supposedly he was waiting tables, yet he looked to be living a pretty high lifestyle. So, I'm not saying I'm a conspiracy theorist, but it's just interesting. It's just interesting how these people pop up to serve certain narratives.
Yes, and to be fair, he does seem to have just appeared one day. I was trying to go back to think, what was the first time that I saw him, and I couldn't actually remember the first role that he was in, other than he was most known for The Mandalorian. I think, where did he come from exactly? And obviously now he, as it says in this article, he's in the next Nick Cage film, so he's getting these big roles now. He's in the live action adaptation in quotations of Last of Us. So yes,
Dude grew up in Orange County, California. That's how rough he had it.
Yep, he's OG. Yep, he probably was running around with Tom Cruise's kids and all that type of stuff. Not. Oh boy, I got to stay on mute. I'm sorry, Purple. I shouldn't mention the TC name, but yeah.
And Martin Acosta, thank you. He says he was the Red Viper on Game of Thrones. Okay. And hello, Pops. Good to see you. Daniel brings up another good point as well, which is, very contentious for a lot of people. I cannot stand how Pedro backstabbed Gina Carano. Absolutely, yes. Another classic example of do as I say, not as I do. Yeah, he just comes across as a really unpleasant person, to be honest. And having gone through this article and reading some of the quotes that he's given, I don't have high hopes for this adaptation. He says in an interview with GQ, Jack King broke the subject of the upcoming video game series by noting, "I am the biggest fan of The Last of Us," which Pascal replied, "Did you play the game? It's so sad I haven't any skill to play it." I'm not entirely surprised he hasn't played it. This just seems to be another example that we've had so many times before, where they've taken an IP and it's name only. They're going to twist it and corrupt it and just make it into something that bears no resemblance to the source material.
I was looking up because I like to check on The Last of Us 2 because I've done a couple of videos about it. One of them I did early last year, but they posted some of the casting calls for primary cast for the show. And one of it was for a African American, although this is in Canada, for a deaf boy who happens to be, I'm just going to say black because that's what we used to say before the world went crazy. So they're adding another character to this story. And did you see the other thing where Elizabeth Olsen, there was a rumor that she was cast as Abby and that was retracted?
Yes, I did see that. Yes. I thought, poor Elizabeth Olsen, what have you done? What did you do, Elizabeth?
I'll tell you what would be the most meta thing ever, Purple, is if they cast Elliot Page, who originally voiced the character as Ellen Page, to be Abby in this show. That would be the most weird world ever. Think about that one a second.
Oh my God. That would make kind of poetic
horrifying. It's horrifying. Anyway, yeah.
And I want to just let Pedro know, because I'm sure he's watching this morning, that even if you haven't played the game and you don't have time to play the game because you're so important and you don't get games, there's a thing called YouTube, and on YouTube there's thousands of walkthroughs of people playing that game for you, so you can experience it that way too and learn.
Yeah, that's what I watched last night. That's what I watched last night, just because I actually loved the original story of The Last of Us that much, where I will watch it because it is more compelling than just about anything that has come out recently in movie theaters. Although I can't wait to see The Northman. I just say that.
Yes, according to this, Pedro did actually watch his nephew play the whole thing. Then Pedro added, he admitted, "I watched for as long as I was able to that day. I then had to leave for Florida."
Oh my God.
So he probably watched about 15 minutes of this kid playing.
Wow. That you could tell somebody really loves the source material and they are really invested in bringing a quality performance to this what was an iconic franchise.
It was, and The Last of Us, the original game, was a fantastic game. It really was. It was one of the ones that I played through, and I absolutely loved. The sequel is terrible for many reasons, not for the technical gameplay, but for the characters and for the decisions that were made with these characters. But yeah, it seems to be this is going to join the ever-growing heap of video game adaptations to TV and movie that are a failure, right up there with Halo.
Yeah, but don't worry, Neil Druckmann is actually directing some of the episodes of this, so it's going to be quality entertainment.
And there's a self-insert for him in the second game too, right? Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
Oh, yeah. How creepy is that?
Yeah.
That's nasty.
And I just want to say one more thing about this quick. But The Last of Us 2 is the Alien 3 of video games.
That's fair. I
That's
agree with
that. That's a good
that.
assessment, actually. Yes, I would agree with that. Yes. Let me just see if there's anything else that we can get from this mind-blowing interview that he gave. Let's see. He says, "I was worried that I would want to imitate it too much, which I think could be right in some circumstances, and then a mistake in others," he added, moving to reflect on his process of approaching the character. "So I just wanted to create a healthy distance, and for that to be more in the hands of show co-writer Craig Mazin and game writer and show writer Neil Druckmann." So if it goes tits up, then we know who to blame.
I guess
Yeah.
the question is how many people are going to have their channel struck and taken down by an offshore company once they start
Right.
posting negative reviews of The Last of Us on HBO? Because we all know and remember what happened when people were showing video game footage. I still think it's one of the funniest damn things I've ever seen with that She-Hulk golfing gif hitting Joel like down range. And you actually had somebody in chat who called me out and said it wasn't Ellen Page. And yes, I'm dead naming her. It wasn't Ellen Page who voiced the character of Ellie. That was they actually used her likeness and she tried to sue. So it was I mea culpa. I didn't know that. I thought that was Ellen Page. But my point still stands. Ellen Page, Elliot Page should be Abby in this adaptation.
Actually, there was one great moment in Last of Us 2 where it's called the Fat Geralt scene, where
Yes.
this giant dude just floors some kid. It's hilarious. Unintentionally so, but hilarious.
That's nuts. And Daniel once more, thank you, honey. He says, when you see a beloved character like Joel brutally beaten to death by a woke chick, that's actually what the writers wanted to do themselves. Self-insert. Yes. It's
like
it's
I said,
just
I
a
watched
horrible
it.
scene all round. You know.
I watched it last night, and again, Joel's character is probably one of the best male protagonists ever. Like ever in the last decade, whether it be in cinema or a video game. And his character arc, it's incredible. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, Purple. It's just Joel was a great character.
He was, yeah. I loved the relationship that the two had in the first game. You know, it was something different and it worked incredibly well. Flaccid Phoenix says Salty loves a strong golfing woman.
I got to get myself off mute to go flame this guy. Hail to you, Flaccid Phoenix, for cracking 169 subscribers. I teased you mercilessly along with Purple and Zaxx yesterday. So nice going, brother. Hail to you.
Yes, he shot past it and everybody was saying, should we unsub to get him back?
Yeah.
But congratulations. I'm really proud of you.
I'm unsubbing right now. So thanks, yeah.
Oh my god. So I don't know what to think of this. I knew it was coming. It wasn't one that was really on my radar, but yeah, Naughty Dog have a bit of a history with striking people and going after people who talking negative about any of their products. So talk negative about their products, guys. Please do.
They're the Paramount of video games.
They are, yeah. And there is a reason why I didn't play the Thor trailer today, because I didn't really fancy fighting a copyright strike. But you think, if we are talking about it and it's out there for the public, you should be allowed to, show these things. But YouTube being YouTube, unfortunately.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't have to show that, Purple. I just pulled up. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there we go.
Just because I think that, yeah.
Yes, Fat Girl, do it.
Because, all right, I have the audio off, and I'm going to slow this thing down because I know how to do this. Let me see, normal. Let's go with half speed. So here we go. Here we go. Boom! There it is.
Oh my God.
Neil Druckmann.
Neil Druckmann, ladies and gentlemen. There you go.
Yeah. Punching kids. There you go.
You're welcome.
It's such a weird game. And it's such a deviation from the previous one, but c'est la vie.
But don't worry, Purple. We're getting so many other new things that we can look forward to, right? I mean, like all these other movies that are coming out, right?
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Well, having said that, we do have something to end the show on a high note, because that's what we like to do. We like to talk about positive. We've had a couple of, if not negative, then mind-boggling stories to today. So let's talk about something good for a change, and something that I know a lot of people are excited for.
Yeah.
What do you guys think
Beautiful.
about this? So, Star Trek: The Motion Picture Director's Cut is coming to theaters.
I can't wait. I cannot wait to see that movie in a 4K version restored. I simply cannot. We talked about it in the green room before the show. I saw that in the theater as a kid, and they sold it as Star Wars. And a lot of people were bored by that movie, and it didn't do as well as they hoped it would because it wasn't Star Wars, it was Star Trek. And as time has gone on, while it is not The Wrath of Khan, it is my second favorite original series Star Trek movie. It just is. It's a beautiful movie.
It really is. It is a lot of people, when it first came out, they didn't like it. They considered it too slow. It's the plot, is too plodding along. But you watch it and you get a new appreciation. I think the older you get watching this film, I really loved it. Wrath of Khan will always be my favorite, but I think this is a great film, and I think that they're bringing it back, and it's the director's cut, and it's coming to theaters, as somebody said in the chat. Absolutely, I think this is great. So it's coming back to the big screens thanks to Fathom Events this May. Let's see what they've got to say. Star Trek: The Motion Picture, the director's edition, is finally set to make its grand debut in theaters for a limited time. Directed by Academy Award winner Robert Wise, Star Trek: The Motion Picture reunites the cast of the Star Trek original series after 10 years and was the fourth highest grossing film of 1979, relaunching the Star Trek television franchise.
I just hope that the theaters that are playing this are stocked up with Kleenex for all of the people in their 40s and 50s and 60s who tear up when this movie starts.
I so glad you said tear up then.
I was wondering where you were going to go with that. I was. I'm glad you went.
The other theaters give out lotion and Kleenex.
Yeah.
Good save. I know a lot of people were talking about the how good it looks, and it says now the film is set for a 4K Blu-ray release in September, which I think is going to be massive. It's going to be on a lot of people's to buy list, but fans will also have the chance to experience the film on the big screen. Fathom Events will screen the Star Trek: The Motion Picture Director's Edition in theaters for 3 nights. Events will take place on May 22nd, 23rd, and May 25th in select cinemas across the US. So sad we won't get to see this.
Oh, but you got to see The Northman a week before we did. So
we did, yes. And this is something that I will be definitely getting 4K Blu-ray. That's going to be a must buy. But what about you guys? Do you think that you're going to go see this? Is this something that you'd be interested in, or is this something that you would probably wait for down the line?
I'm going to go see it. I am absolutely going to go see it. And I actually pulled up one image, Purple. And that is the very beginning of the film. You have to put this into context. The original series on television had been canceled for, 15, 17 years. Star Trek had only been kept alive through fan conventions, things along those lines. And this movie was so important to so many people. And of course, when this movie came out, I think I was 10, 11. But there's a scene where you have Kirk taking a shuttlecraft up to the Enterprise, and they lovingly spend all of this time going around the ship. And that is the part that I can't wait for. I mean, look at this in 4K. Are you kidding me? This is Star Trek pornography. It really, really is, in the best way possible. Yeah, in the best way possible. God.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go see it in the theaters too. I'm not even a giant Star Trek fan. I do like Star Trek, but I'm not a Trekker or Trekkie, whatever you're supposed to call them now. But I'll definitely go see this in the theaters just to experience it that way, because I've never seen it in theater before.
Yes, absolutely. And if I could see it, this would be on my to watch list because, like I said, I really do genuinely like the film. I think from a visual aspect, it looks beautiful. It's great to see the cast back together. You know, they really did do a fantastic job with this film. And a lot of people say, you know, the criticism of it is it's just a much longer episode of Star Trek, the original series. Well, I say, you know, why is that a bad thing? You know, why is that a negative exactly?
Yeah, we get to go live in the world where Star Trek was a hopeful place, where we had the original characters that we all know and love, who were not gender, sexuality, whatever swapped. And it's just a good, methodical, truly science fiction episode or movie of Star Trek, which is what Star Trek was all about, was to explore strange new worlds. And I'm not using that as the term of that crap show from Paramount. I'm talking about the actual concept of doing it.
Yes, absolutely. And Daniel, once more, thank you. He says Star Trek the Motion Picture over 2001 Space Odyssey. That I would agree with. I know this is probably a bit of a you know, a contentious view, but I'm not the biggest fan of 2001 Space Odyssey. I think technically it's a great film, but it really drags, at least for me, when watching it.
It'd be kind of funny for this release if William Shatner flexes and they cut Sulu out of the movie.
I just hope there's a Stacey Abrams cameo in this where she's the president of the Federation. That's what we need.
Of course.
And that shouldn't be. Thank you. And he says, who knew Pascal's lack of acting ability didn't matter when playing Oberyn Martell? He just had to be his narcissistic, self-absorbed, spiteful self. Well said.
Yeah, fat, and he also turned out to be a loser.
Jaden Hamilton, he says, I know nothing about Star Trek, but I'm going to watch the old, which I'm sure is the only actual good movies. Absolutely. I think you'll really like this. And I think if you're going to watch this, a lot of people have been talking about, you know, the releases that have come out as well. So we had on April 5th, we had Star Trek the Motion Picture, which was released on Paramount Plus in 4K. As well, a lot of people have watched that and said how amazing it looks. So to see it up on the big screen now, I think is going to be a real treat for people. So I'm really excited, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit jealous about people who get to see this. So if anybody does see it, please let us know what it's like.
Oh yeah. I can't wait for the updated effects, especially when, you know, with the anomaly and V'ger in the cloud. That whole passage of the Enterprise as they go deeper and deeper into that spiral. And I'm also hoping they update the when the Klingon ships are attacked. Oh God, when they're circling it, that is just, and the music for the motion picture is absolutely beautiful. It's just perfect.
The music is fantastic. It really, really sets the scene. Dork Knight says, I'm watching it on Paramount Plus today. Nice. Manowar 665, just reserved my tickets, taking my uncle who took me to see it in 79. Also reserved the 40th anniversary Rafa Khan for Labor Day weekend.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool. Martin Custer said, yes, that scene is Starship porn. Absolutely.
See, the Star Trek Enterprise is the John Holmes of science fiction. That's all I'm going to say.
I think Flaccid Phoenix has either taken the wrong pill or he's trolling us. He says, boring. I want JJ Star Trek to come back. Chris Pine is the best Kirk.
If you haven't already, please unsubscribe from Flaccid Phoenix. He was up to 169 subscribers. Let's see if we can get him down to 100, you guys.
And actually, guys, too, in the chat, do you know how to report a channel?
He's got to rebrand himself to the Braveheart channel. That's what Flaccid Phoenix is.
Oh, we love you, Flaccid. It's great to see you. Brandon says, the motion picture and Calm will be in cinemas this year, May and October. Go see them. October, I might be able to see Rafa Khan. That would be pretty cool.
Wow.
Oh, and Daniel, thank you, honey. Says you're welcome to come and see it with me, Purple. Thank you, sweetheart. I would love to go see it. Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Copper Malik, great to see you. Good morning. He says Star Trek, the motion picture should change its warp scenes to tie in with the TNG version. That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will be really interested to see what effects they change, because some of them were really a period of their time. They really were of the late 70s. They're great on their own, but man, if we could get some of what Brandon's talking about in there, and also the other person that was up, I would agree. I would love to see more of the effects that we know from, say, the Next Generation.
Absolutely. And Brendan says that Fathom events have a boatload of these great events happening. Do you think that this is a really good way for cinemas to go? Just slightly going off topic, bringing back these films that people know and love and doing events for them seem to be a really great idea to kind of entice people back into the cinema if there isn't any, particular films that they want to see that are new. I think it's a brilliant idea.
I do. I've been saying this for years, that if you have like a fourplex or even a dualplex, show a good old movie in the other one. Like, you can have the hot thing that's up there, but show Indiana Jones, show Casablanca, show The Godfather, show all of these movies. Everyone is going to want to go see those. Now, if you're a parent, you're going to want to take your kids to go see Indiana Jones. Same thing with Star Trek. Same thing. All of these movies, Hollywood has failed, and they've failed from a audience satisfaction standpoint. Now, they don't think they failed because they're hitting all of their corporate mandated ideology stuff. So what they probably don't want to have is that a re-release of something like Star Trek the Motion Picture is going to do better than, say, The Eternals. How bad would that look to these people?
Yes. Can you imagine if they did the original Jurassic Park and then showed the new one that's coming out? The discrepancy between the who wants to go see it. And now, I love Jurassic Park as a franchise, but I think it's fair to say that they've been going downhill with the newer films.
But there's another one coming out, so they have farther down the hill to fall.
Oh, there's a new trilogy coming out once this Dominion's done. There's another trilogy in the works, so
yay!
It just keeps on going.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea. The theater is doing this, bringing back the old films in 4K like that, making an event, maybe sell some merch while you're there too. Some places here used to try to do a meal with those kinds of films, but that kind of didn't work. But I would love to experience a film like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Over here, we've just over the weekend had a in the lead up to Nick Cage's new film, they showed in selected theatres, and most of them were in London, unfortunately, 5 of his films, and then it was like a whole day. So there was like they were giving out masks, and they were doing little events throughout the day to break up the films. And then I think today is actually the launch of the new film. I think it's out in general theatres, I think next Friday, so I'm hoping to see that. But I love the idea of doing these events and really getting people involved.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And I would love to see Wild at Heart on the big screen again. You want to talk about an absolutely off the chain movie in Nick Cage. Wow.
That's awesome. Daniel said would rather spend more time watching older movies and shows than current day. Would rather see a Hitchcock movie than almost anything today. A Hitchcock marathon would be great to see up on the big screen.
What's your favorite Hitchcock movie, Purple?
Usually I would say Psycho, but I really do love The Birds.
Yeah. What about you, Zaxx? Zaxx is dead.
What else?
Sorry, I was muted there. Sorry. Okay. I found The Birds terrifying, so I'm going to go Birds.
Yeah. I love North by Northwest. I think that movie is visually just unbelievable.
And let me say hello to Paul Cook. Great to see you. Says, yes, Purple, definitely need some more 80s movies in 4K in cinema. I absolutely agree. More 80s action films back up on the big screen would be fantastic. And good morning to the Nerdporial life form. Great to see you as always. Jaden Hampson says, I hope to see Lord of the Rings is released in 8K in theatre. I want to see them in the theatre. As somebody who saw all of them and The Hobbit in theatre, I would love to see them once more back up on the big screen. I thought that maybe they would have done it for the 20th anniversary, but it wasn't to be, unfortunately.
Which makes no sense. Because I would have seen those movies over and over and over. Because like you, Purple, I saw them in the theater, and it's a completely different experience. It absolutely is, especially the Two Towers and Return of the King with those epic battle scenes on the big screen. It is just mind-blowing.
Take my money.
Absolutely. The chat will miss you, Zaxx.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Oh my god. And Fluffy Phoenix says, give me North by Northman, the crossover we always wanted.
Starring Mel Gibson as a Scotsman.
And MVP, great to see you, says, I would probably cry if I saw them in the theatre again. I would as well, because those were the films that I remember having the audience have the most emotion and reacting to. We don't generally clap over here in the UK for films, but these were the very few films that I remember people, they stood up and applauded once the credits started to roll.
Yeah, it was the same thing in my theater, even though we're a little more outgoing here in the States. But I remember people crying when Aragorn in the Two Towers went off that cliff edge. There were women sobbing. I mean, it's these movies are what we all want in a movie. And I think
because those characters mean something to us, right?
Well, there's not enough trans representation in their sizes. And hashtag too white.
That's okay. Amazon's got you covered.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's right.
They saw what Tolkien did wrong and what Peter Jackson did wrong and said, you know what, guys? This is what you need.
I know. I can't wait for another Beastie Boys song to appear and save the day in Amazon's Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power.
Absolutely. Paul Cook for Frodo.
Yep.
Yes. God, I love that. So good. Daniel's calling us out. He says, only women sobbing. It's okay to admit it's salty.
I read the book. I knew what happened. So.
But
I might have had something in my eye, but yeah.
It does get you choked up. It really does. And that's a testament to how great the cast was. But if we start talking Lord of the Rings, we will be here for the rest of the day.
That's right. Yep.
Before we wrap up and let everybody get on with their Easter Monday, what have you guys got coming up?
Go ahead, Zaxx.
Well, I actually, believe it or not, hit my watch hours yesterday, my 4,000 watch hours, which is a kind of a miracle and
wow.
Also very, very, very lucky. And so now I need some more subs. So check me out, please. What I'm working on right now is I'm thinking about doing reviews for Outer Range, which I watched the first 2 episodes of and enjoyed.
Yes.
And have a couple more Gina videos to get finished, and then I have to pick another theme for the next week. Yes. So I'll take ideas and suggestions.
Those were so good. I loved getting to see that. Gina's such a classy lady.
She is.
She's lovely. And a happy birthday to her as well.
Yes.
Nepora says Better Call Saul stream tonight. Okay, cool.
I've never actually watched that show. That's all I'm gonna say.
Neither did I.
I liked it. I've got to admit, I didn't think it was. Well, it was. I'd say it was on par with the previous show, but I enjoyed it. I've got to admit. What about you, Salty? What have you got coming up?
Well, I'm lucky enough to have some really beautiful, fun, smart, dynamic people join me tomorrow night, Tuesday at 7:15 Central. And I'm, of course, speaking about Purple Valkyrie, Zaxx, and Maxfield Von Priestley, where we're going to be talking about all kinds of things. I'm putting together the show tear sheet. We'll probably get through 1 or 2 of them because we have the most fun, engaging, brilliant chat out there. And on par with this one right here. So please join us tomorrow night at Tuesday. Other than that, Purple, Zaxx, and I will be recording yet another woo-woo video. We have a show name which will be revealed, but there has been a lot of crazy paranormal UFO activity in the last week, and we're going to be talking about that real soon.
Yes, there has, and I'm loving getting to do these shows. So, guys, if you have not checked them out, Salty's got 2 fantastic videos up at the moment. There is so much more to come. So, please, if you like the paranormal, check those out because we are having a lot of fun with them. And hello to Rhea. Hello, sweetheart. Good to see you. Good morning. So, guys, as you can see, you will be seeing more of us tomorrow evening on Salty's channel. Really looking forward to that. We have a fantastic Tuesday show, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. You know, the chat's getting bigger every day, every week, and we're having a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Cuppermanic
It's
says,
awesome.
paranormal, count me in. Awesome. Guys.
Oh yeah.
Links are in the description below, and Brandon has kindly been putting the links in the chat as well. So please subscribe to these 2 gentlemen and to everybody else as well, because we really do have some really talented people working very hard on their channels. So, guys, let me say a massive thank you to my co-hosts today, to Salty Texas and to Zaxx. It was fantastic getting to do a preview of tomorrow night's show with you guys.
Thank you very much for having me, Purple.
Yeah, thank you, Purple. I'm honored as ever. Thank you.
My pleasure, as always. Guys, let me say a massive thank you to everybody who joined us in the chat today. You guys were awesome. We had some really brilliant comments, as always. A huge thank you to everybody who sent super chats, who sent member milestone chats as well. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. We've got a lot coming up this week. We've got Mexican Iron Man joining us on Wednesday. I've got the spoiler review for The Northman coming out today. I'm just waiting for that to process, so that should be up. And I am working on a video all about Doctor Doom as well, so that should be coming up in the next couple of days as well. So watch this space, guys. Really kind of getting back into it and kind of testing the water to see what works. So a huge thank you to everybody who clicked on the 30-second video of my dumb face reacting to the Northman. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I love that take. That actually fired me up.
Yeah. And don't say dumb face, Purple. Come on.
I rewatched it. I was like, oh god, I'm gushing way too much. But it was one of those spur of the moment things. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you liked it. So let me say, have a fantastic rest of your day. Please check out all of your favorite YouTubers. Make sure you're subscribed because YouTube is being funny as always. And we will see each other very, very soon.